Welcome to Revolution Against Evolution. I'm your host, Doug Sharp.
Your co-host, Rich Gear, here as well. We have a special guest here, Freddy Torres.
Hey.
I'm glad to have you. He's been a good friend of the show and a good friend of me. It's always nice meeting new friends, but you got a special story. What do you want to call the show? What the title of the book is?
The title of the book is Unchained. Freddy has written a book, and I've helped him edit it. And put it into production, and Rich has done the cover for it. So the title is Unchained. Let's take a little gander up here, and Freddie's going to tell us a little bit about how he came about writing this book and some of the things in his life that led up to this. And I got some questions for him, and so Fred, why don't you tell us a little bit?
Start out, yeah.
All right. Well, my name is Freddy Torres, and I was born and raised in the city of Chicago, Illinois. And I was born and raised on the south side of Chicago, and I got involved with gangs out there at a very young age.
How old were you?
It first started probably about 5 or 6 years old.
Wow.
Is when I got exposed to gang members and gang violence, just looking out my window and those types of things. And it was just a crazy life that a lot of people live to this day. And the reason why I wanted to write this book, and this will be my first book, and I want to write more because I couldn't fit everything in here, and there's a lot more stories that I didn't get a chance to share in the book that I really wanted to. But it all starts with being a young man and getting involved with people and watching role models, and I thought that was all cool stuff.
Oh yeah.
Coming out the building, 15 guys are standing outside just drinking and talking and getting the kids to fight each other and just out there buying us ice creams and the big guys being nice to us from the neighborhood.
Sure. Okay.
Protecting the neighborhood. And so that's pretty much how it all started.
You started hanging out
on the south
any
side
particular
of Chicago.
gang, or was there more than one, or is it?
Yeah, it was a particular gang that dominated that neighborhood.
Yep.
On the south side of Chicago. Sometimes I don't really say the name of the gang because I don't want to bring it no glory, but it was in the area of 63rd and Artesian back in that day.
Okay.
And
they're still there. Okay.
They're there to this day, and I would come out, and they would just love me, and I was a little kid, so they had me doing bad things, and they would laugh and go punch this person or do this or that, and we'll back you up, and stuff like that. They thought it was funny, and they would beat us up. The little kids of the neighborhood, the big guys, they beat us up, make us toughen us up and stuff like that. So that's how it all started from a young age, and I thought it was fun when I was young, but then as I got older, it started getting a little more serious, and these guys began to ask more of me and to prove myself, and I found myself in a lot of crazy situations.
It's kind of the way a lot of cults work, the same way. They start out kind of nice or easy, and even teaching you kind of some things are good, and then they kind of get you a little bit farther into it, and a little bit farther into it, and a little far. Pretty soon you're in too deep. You can't really get out of it, or you don't think you can get out of it. But that's we'll get to that story in a little bit there. Yeah. But how old were you when you started when it got a little more serious?
It got a little more serious when I got about 9 or 10.
Oh, that early still?
That early, yeah. Okay. Because I grew up basically. People would think it'd be like a religion. You got a crew of people.
That's what I was saying.
You see it every day.
Yep.
They're treating you good and keeping you. And even at that age, at a younger age, I was holding guns for these guys. I was holding drugs for these guys. And, they'd give me anything I wanted as a kid,
Yeah.
Not saying that they would give me a car or a house or anything, but for a kid, they give me $100. Here's $100, shorty. Here's you can go buy you some.
They called you shorty?
Yeah, yeah. In Spanish, El Chapo.
El Chapo. Oh,
so I was the real El Chapo.
You were the real El Chapo. Yeah.
And, I was a kid, man, and so I could remember one time and I didn't put it in the book, but them guys, the older guys that were out there, and all of a sudden this car stopped, and then another car stopped behind him, and another car, and all those guys got out the car, and there was about 10 guys there, and there was about 20, 30 guys pulled up, and they were all just fighting and breaking bottles up, upside each other's heads, and
Wow.
I was small and I was there. But, these were bigger guys. But then when they realized that I was a part of it, they jumped on me too,
Gee.
And, it was...
What year are you talking about, probably?
I'm talking about 1985.
85, okay.
84, 85.
Middle 80s,
around there.
okay, all right.
Yeah, early 80s. And so, and then they require you, if you're, with them, you don't run, or else they're going to beat you up.
Oh,
So
okay.
you might as well just,
Tough it out.
tough
Okay.
it out, because you ain't going nowhere. I live right there. I'm coming right down those stairs.
Now, was your mom involved in any of this, or your parents, or?
Oh, my parents, they didn't really know too much of what I would do, because I'd go out and I'd go hide with the guys. But there was one day when my mom did catch me out there, and I had my hat turned, and I was throwing gang signs at a car that was going by, and all of a sudden, here she's coming walking down the street with a belt. And she said, "Oh, you're in a gang, oh, come here." In front of all my friends, just started whipping me, and,
Oh my God.
and they were laughing, and so, they didn't condone it, but what were they going to do, keep me in the house 24 hours a day, and...
Now, I have a question for you, Freddie. I think this applies a little bit to our topic of Christian apologetics, and I think the question I would have is, if you at that time had been a committed Christian and you wanted to resist this whole gang stuff, what would have happened to you?
What would have happened to me at that time? At the earlier years, nothing would have happened to me.
Mhm.
Because when it comes to God, and if you're serious, gang members, they'll back off you. They may give you a break. Sometimes they won't, because some people are not fully committed, and they say, "Hey, I'm a Christian, I'm out the gang," and then all of a sudden they see you hanging with the guys again, and then if they see you again, they're not going to give you a pass. But
They're not gonna.
But-
So the key to it is to be consistent with your what you're talking about.
the key to it, is to be consistent.
And I also see that part of the gang is to try to find respect with your friends and the people around you. And I think there is a thing that happens where if the people, and this is true for anything, is if somebody finds that you're not consistent with what you believe. If you're a fake and people find out, well, then they lay into you and you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, you won't last very long. But, I grew up into that stuff, so I just thought it was a part of,
Part of growing up, yeah.
hey man, go smack that guy in the back of the head. Grown up. Pow! The guy turned around, "I'm gonna kill you when I catch you." Okay, well, here's my guys right here. What you gonna do? Started a lot of trouble, man. I mean, but
So how big of an area did like a particular gang hit? Did it vary depending on
in
the?
Chicago, it's a 8-block radius,
Right,
and
that was
some
your turf.
and even to this day, and it's a lot wilder now because there's no leaders of gangs really, but they die in that 8-block radius, not seeing and not knowing the big world that's out here. I never knew it. I thought that it was normal. I thought that, hey, this is my life, and people getting killed, my friends dying, and I've had over 50, 60 friends of mine died. They were friends,
Wow.
actual friends. Yeah, seriously,
Wow.
yeah.
It starts out, we start out in your book with you getting shot.
Right, yeah. That was in the older, I was 13 years old when that happened. And as I stated in the book, that was the day when my mom, thought she was helping. I don't know. I talked to her about it the other day as well. I got arrested that day with a couple of my friends. Over there's police brutality, but there's a reason for it. They don't respect the cops over there. So this cop, he pulled up, got all three of my friends, and I had some marijuana on me, and he asked me how old I was, and I lied, and I said I was older than I was, and then he headbutted us after he found out that I was lying. Me and my friends, wow, why you lying to me? He took me to jail, but he didn't charge me with the marijuana. But when I did go to jail, my mom came to pick me up. And when she came to pick me up, she came with a folder that I had a bunch of gang paraphernalia in. Okay. She gave it to the youth worker there, and the lady was, they're like, okay, your mom's here. And then she sat me down and she said, look, you've been around murders. They looked at my record. I've been around people that have been killed, a lot of people that have been hurt, a lot of other things. And the lady said, what are you doing? And she said, you're not going to last till you're 17 years old. You ain't going to make it. And so, I didn't care. I had my mom. We left, went home. On the way home, my dad was mad at me. I had the keys in my house. He said, give me the keys to the house. He took the keys and threw them on the roof. I went in the house and got dressed, and then I went to my neighborhood. I went down back that way, and like in the book says, before I went to my neighborhood, I went to talk to somebody else, and then I went to my neighborhood after that, and I just started shaking everybody's hand. What's up? Hey, hey. And then I was going to there was a corner, because over there gangs, they like own the corners, they stand on the corners, 20, 30 guys. So I went over there, and as I was going over there, but they had problems with this other guy, with another gang. But one of the guys didn't know that they called it peace treaty. So the other gang, what they do is in the gangs, they'll go and they'll test you out. They'll drive through your neighborhood to see if, okay, they said peace, so let's try it. So this guy didn't get the memo. So the car's going by, he picks up a brick and started cracking the guy's windows, and so the car leaves, man. But I just so happened to get back to the neighborhood, and these guys were telling me the problem, so I was going to the corner, and here comes the car. I didn't see him coming, though. I seen the car go by, but then when they seen the car, they told me what was going on, so I was on my way. So I was going to the corner, and then the car, he was coming. I didn't see it, and I was crossing the street, and it was about 2 feet away, man. I looked at a friend of mine's face, and it was just slow motion. He was like, watch it, like in the movies, watch out. And all of a sudden, I went to turn, but the car was already to me, and then the guy just started firing right behind me. It was probably about a foot or two, and bow. And when I felt it hit me the first time, so immediately I started running, but he kept shooting. Then he shot another one of my friends, and it's in the book.
Your friend, did he make it, or?
One of them didn't make it, no. But another one that got shot did make it.
Because there was two others with you? Or
yeah, there was a whole bunch of us.
A whole bunch of, okay.
Yeah, so, they were firing for whoever, and I was a kid. I was about maybe 13, 14 years old, and that started a gang war that's going on till this day, and it's been a long time.
Wow.
So a lot of people got killed because of that. A lot of people went to prison because of that. A lot of people, to this day, they're still at war with those people because I got shot,
Amazing, yeah.
And it's not a good feeling, So, but
So after that happened, what happened?
After I got shot?
Yeah.
Well, I went to the hospital, and my family, they cried, and I just went back out there.
Did you really? Okay.
I went back out there with
that didn't change you right then.
Didn't change a thing,
Okay.
I just kept going. I just kept it going and going until God had to intervene,
Well, you ended up in Michigan.
I did, yep.
And that was a different experience. You didn't know anything besides your 8-block radius. And,
right.
When you got to Michigan, everything was green and different.
It was a fairy tale land to me. I couldn't believe it. I mean,
but you came to Michigan. Why?
I came to Michigan because I had a sister that was in the Army in Connecticut.
Okay.
And they knew a little bit of what was going on because my mom and I got older, and and they knew what was going on, so they wanted to save me from
Okay.
You know, they knew I was gonna get killed sooner or later.
Yeah, I thought they were after
The
you
life-
or something. Or,
Yeah, they were after me. I mean, the life that I lived, because the older guys would come pick me up,
Yeah.
the heads of the gangs. So I was with the heads of the gangs, and people were jealous of that. Also, the other gang, they see me with these guys, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna get him," you know. And so, you know, that's a part of the testimony and it's been like that my whole life. Though God has always placed me with the top people, but when I was living that life, the devil did with the top people. You know, I had, you know, people in the mafia, different mafias from Mexico, Cuban, and you know, they were like my family because I was about that, you know. And so once I got saved, then the pastors started coming, the leaders, and then I became, you know.
Now, when you came to Michigan, you were not saved, or were you? Did
No,
you
I
come
wasn't
loaded?
saved.
I didn't think you
Oh,
would come
man,
loaded. It was after you got to Michigan, right?
I went and got my rap sheet the other day, and I had to sit there for about 15 minutes, and the counselor like, "Man, here you go. This is why it took so long. Here you go." Because when I came from Chicago, my mindset was still bound. I thought I was crazy, but I knew I couldn't do everything that I did there because it was a different place. You know, I couldn't get away with everything, and people, when I got here, I realized that real quick that, you know, it's a whole different situation. You do something here, you're going to jail quick.
Yeah.
Over there, it's a different story. You can move to the other side of Chicago and get away with it. So it's just,
Okay.
but it was a day where, you know, I was probably living the last days of my life, and my mom and my sister, they came into the neighborhood, and my gang didn't recognize the car because it was late at night, and they were gonna go after the car. And then, "Hey, man, that's my mom," and, you know. And I was high. I was sitting on a porch, and I had a 357 Magnum because I knew these guys were coming, so I was ready, and I was ready to do whatever I had to do to live, you know. And it was late at night, you know. I used to stay out all night selling drugs and stuff like that. So here comes my mom, pulled up with my sister. And she gets out the car, she said, "Fred, come on, we're leaving. We're leaving. I'm with your sister. Let's go." So, you know, I'm high. I got the gun. I give the gun to my friend. And I was like, "Man, I'll be back." So I got in the car, and we were taking off, and they got me something to eat, and I fell asleep in the car, and I woke up in Lansing. I woke up on the highway looking at a building at night, and I said, "Man, what is that? The White House?"
That was the Capitol?
I said, "Yeah." I was on the highway. I was like, "Wait, I'm in Washington D.C. White House. What the heck? What am I doing over here?" So, you know, I woke up and I tried Lansing, but it didn't work for me. So I went back to Chicago.
Oh, you did go. Okay.
And then it got worse. I did. Oh, and then I went, and then it got worse, intensified with the gangs and after me, and so I had to come because they really started coming for me. And they killed a couple of my friends, my good friends, the older guys, and one of them was in jail. And he called me and said, "Look, get out of here, man. Just leave. Don't ever come back, because they're gonna kill you next." You know. And the
This
one
is
that
a
was
rival gang?
it's a rival gang,
Yeah.
but then the one that was in jail, they killed him too.
Oh, boy.
You
Once
know,
he got out, you
once,
mean?
yep, once he got out. You know.
Wow.
You know, Freddy's story doesn't stop there. He ends up with a bad relationship with a lady, right?
Right, yeah, that was, well, you know, because that's what I was attracted in, was just bad people. Not per se that the lady was bad, just the way the people grow up in the neighborhoods, low income, and, you know, the mind that you grow up with. And, you know, I just, God transformed my life, you know, and so he could do it for anybody. And I hate to talk down on people from my past, but, you know, it was a bad experience for me. You know, I went to jail a lot, got in trouble a lot. It was a bad relationship, you know. That's why also I speak to youth and I tell them, man, don't get with somebody that don't believe in God or believe like you, because they're not going to support you. They're not going to be in your corner. They'll be with you, but they ain't going to be in your corner.
Well, that's the thing. The next question, then, how did you come to a saving knowledge of Jesus Christ? How did that happen? You've been through all of this stuff, and you came to Lansing, then went back to Chicago, and then came back to Lansing. Is that what it is? Okay, and how old were you then when you come the second time?
It was probably a year after I came the first time.
So you were like 15, 16?
I was about 17.
17, okay.
16, 17.
Okay.
And when I lived with my sister, my brother-in-law made me go to church with him.
Oh, so your brother-in-law was a believer,
Yeah,
huh?
he was a believer.
Wow.
So
okay.
he was like, "You're gonna stay with us, but you're gonna go to church." Blah blah. Blah. That didn't last long, but I did go to church with him for a while. I went to high school here, but that didn't last long either.
Oh boy.
But you know, it was just my mindset was just. But God was always dealing with me, always giving me chances, always. Even when I lived in Chicago, you know, I met a lot of evangelical people, and I come from a family, evangelical family, a family that believes in Jesus Christ and God, and I've seen miracles, I've seen demons, I've seen, you know, with my own eyes, you know, so people couldn't tell me it ain't true, because I've seen it, I've experienced it.
And even though you saw some of that stuff, it still didn't take, because the other stuff was so, it just grabs a hold of you,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
But so something, at a point, something grabbed a hold of you, and obviously going to the church, and what was there
It
any,
was a jail boot camp.
was it jail boot camp?
Well, that was a part of the process as well.
Okay, so it was a process.
Yeah, it was a process, a long one. When I went to boot camp is where I learned how to respect authority, how to respect others. Yes, sir. No, sir. What does yes, sir and no, sir mean? Well, I found out real quick. Unless I wanted to be outside and holding the canteen over my head for 25 hours or something like that. I learned that real quick. But so it was a breakdown that when I went to boot camp, they broke me down mentally and then they build you back up. Once you get to that bottom, they start building you back up, teaching you respect for authority, giving you tasks with your team members that you can work together on, and you know, and so it was an experience that really changed my life as well, because I never had none of that.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You know, I wouldn't say, "Excuse me, sir, get out of here, move."
Yeah.
You know, I was just a jerk, you know, but after I got out of there, I learned that, man, there's more to life than being who I was. And so I had to deal with that person, you know, and so I still do to this day, you know. The old Freddy tries to come around, and I got to tell him, "Nah, man, you got to go. I am not listening to you. The last time I listened to you, we went to jail, remember?" And I counted all the blocks on the wall in that jail.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And it was 5,649. But anyway,
Wow. You still remember that?
it's awful, man.
Yeah.
But the old me is always there, you know, and I just have to just say no, you know, no.
Well, it's a tough thing when you're trying to keep yourself out of trouble and to keep the discipline. You know, I think that going to Navy boot camp was an experience that helped to discipline me a little bit, you know. Because I remember going to college, and college is just sort of crazy stuff. Anything goes in college,
Right.
but it's you also have to apply yourself in a certain way. But in the military, it's a total different environment, a total different experience, and with two of those things. The academic and the military life just were totally different experiences, and the tests of what I was made of, you know. And
We need more of that for the youth today too. I don't see how, you know, some of these guys are willing to get out there and take a gun and shoot somebody else and kill them with all that energy, instead of taking that energy, going to school, getting an education, making their parents happy and family proud of them, instead of making their mother cry and family cry and feel sorry for them because they're in prison for the rest of their lives. You know, these young people of this day need to know that there's nothing to that anymore. You know, you shoot somebody, you're going to prison. You want to sell drugs, you're going to prison. You know, it's only a matter of time, you know. I got spared. I should be dead a million times. I know God is with me. There's no no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
So this boot camp was when you were actually in jail? Was that a jail thing?
It was a jail boot camp, yep.
Okay.
I went to
alright.
jail and the judge was like, look.
And how long were you there for?
I was there for 90 days.
90 days, okay. And you got out. And that was the beginning of some changes.
It was
So-
the beginning of some changes, but I still kept getting in trouble.
Yeah, okay, that's what I'm getting at. So you were still not, you were still, the old Freddy was still very much alive.
I
there,
was.
okay.
I had some things that I did deal with, but I was still a knothead. But I paid for it.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh.
until I got married to my wife, had my kids with my wife, Andrea, and that's when things really started changing. You know, I had a baby with her, and that was it. You know, and that's when, you know, even though I had problems too, you know, being married and stuff like that, but that it started changing. God started doing the work. And so now I'm like totally awoke, like, why did I do all that?
No, what you're doing is you're managing the Christian TV station here in Lansing.
Right.
And God has blessed you with that ministry. You started out, you know, as part of part of your jail experience, having probation.
Right.
The probation was with Dolores Burley,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
Oh,
And she
really?
wasn't scared of me one bit either. She told me, boy, turn around and put your hat right and pull your pants up or get out of here.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. I said, okay. So I was being sarcastic, so I pulled my pants up all the way above my belly and
Urkel.
smashed my hat on my head, like, okay.
But
I did keep them warm.
You know, that lady, you know, she's done quite a bit of good in this this city, and I think that the fact that this ministry is now turned over to you,
Yeah.
So
what an amazing transformation you
Yeah.
made there.
Yeah, it's a big. A lot of people have been saved through GNS TV. You guys are on the program, and we're community work. So, you know, we're just keeping it the way it was, honoring Sister Dolores, but honoring God first. And yeah, we're there.
So what all goes on in your TV station? What the types of programming do you
We're a
have?
community station, and we want to come together with the community in television production, and you know, different things, praying, reaching out in the cities, feeding the homeless, helping young people. We do it all.
So there's a lot of ministry that's going on, and I appreciate what you're doing to Freddie. Thank you for being on our show. We appreciate what you're doing, and you've helped us a lot. This is going to be on our website soon as an offering, and we'll have it on Amazon. And I hope you enjoyed our time with on Revolution Against Evolution. We'll see you next time.